Duplicate or copy is a useful tool in SketchUp. Say we need to make a copy of this wall to put on the other side of the space. Select the wall group, then activate the Move tool. Then tap the Control key. Notice how the plus sign appears next to the Move icon. That tells us that when we move the object, a copy will be made. Click and move the copy to the correct location on the other side of the space. We could also copy the object a set distance from the original. Say we wanted a new wall to be offset the original by 60 inches. Select the wall group and activate the Move tool. Then tap the Control key. Then start moving the object. Lock it in axis of movement by tapping the relevant arrow key. Then input the distance. Since the thickness of the wall is 8 inches, and we want the gap between the walls to be 60 inches, we will input 68. Components behave in a similar way to groups. When you make a component out of a selection of geometry, it becomes isolated from the rest of the model and is contained within the component. Components are different from groups in the sense that changes to a component will affect all instances of that component in your model. Changes to a group will only affect that specific group. Therefore, components are best used for repeated items like windows, doors, chairs, etc. Let's demonstrate. Say we have a model with 3 identical window openings. It would make sense to make the geometry for the window a component because it's a repeated item. First, make the window a component by selecting the geometry. Then, right-click and select Make Component. Then, activate the Move tool. Then, tap the Control key to make a copy. Then, using a point at the top of the window opening as an inference point, click and drag to the corresponding point at the top of the other window opening. Repeat the process for the third window. Now, whenever changes are made to any one of the windows, those same changes will be made to every instance of the component in the model. Nesting refers to the process of creating groups or components inside other groups or components. This allows for more complex model organization and hierarchy. Think of it like putting a smaller box inside a larger box. For example, you might have a model of a house where each floor is in a separate group. Within that group, the floor and walls might be in separate groups. Each door would likely be a component. Within the door component, there might be 2 further groups, one for the door blank and one for the handle. Good nesting is essential to the effective organization of a SketchUp model.